Imagine waking up one morning unable to move your neck. You think you slept wrong, but the stiffness never goes away. Within weeks, your jaw locks shut. Your shoulders freeze in place. Doctors tell you there's nothing they can do because your body is building a second skeleton and it's trapping you inside. This is the story of Harry Eastlack, a man whose body turned against him in the most horrifying way possible. A man who slowly transformed into living stone. Harry was born in Philadelphia in 1930. He seemed like a normal, healthy baby. His parents had no reason to worry. But when Harry was 5 years old, something strange happened. He fell and broke his leg. A simple childhood accident, the kind that happens every day. But when the cast came off, Harry's leg didn't heal normally. Hard lumps had formed where there should have been soft tissue. The doctors were confused. They had never seen anything like it. Harry's parents took him to specialist after specialist. Nobody could explain what was happening. The lumps were bone, real bone, growing in places where bone should never exist. In his muscles, in his tendons, in the soft tissues that allow the body to move. Harry's body was creating extra bone, and it wouldn't stop. As Harry grew older, the condition got worse. Much worse. By age 10, his spine had begun to fuse. The small bones in his back were connecting together, forming one solid column. He started losing the ability to bend, to twist, to look over his shoulder. Every movement became difficult, then painful, then impossible. Harry's doctors didn't know how to help him. This was the 1940s. Medical knowledge was limited. They had never encountered this disease before, so they did what seemed logical. They tried to remove the extra bone. They performed surgery. They cut away the hard deposits growing in Harry's muscles. They thought they could stop the process. They were tragically wrong. Every time doctors cut into Harry's tissue, his body reacted. It treated the surgery as an injury, and injuries triggered more bone growth. The surgical sites became factories for new bone formation. Within weeks of each operation, even more bone appeared. Harder, thicker, more extensive than before. The surgeries weren't helping Harry. They were making everything worse. They were accelerating his transformation. Harry's body was building a second skeleton on top of his first one, a prison of bone. Doctors finally realized they had to stop operating. There was nothing they could do. No treatment, no cure, no way to slow it down. Harry would have to live with whatever his body decided to do. And his body had decided to turn him into stone. By his teenage years, Harry could barely move. His neck was completely frozen. He couldn't turn his head at all. His jaw had locked into position. He could only open his mouth a few millimeters. Eating became a nightmare. He survived on liquid food, soft foods that could squeeze through the tiny gap in his teeth. His shoulders were immobilized. His arms locked at fixed angles. His chest was rigid. Breathing became harder every year. But Harry's mind remained sharp, completely normal. He was trapped inside a body that was betraying him. He could think. He could feel. He could understand exactly what was happening. And he knew it would only get worse. There was no hope of improvement, no possibility of recovery. His condition was progressive, relentless, unstoppable. Harry died in 1973. He was only 43 years old. By the end, he could move almost nothing. His entire body had fused into one piece. Only his lips and tongue still worked. His heart and lungs struggled inside a chest that couldn't expand. Eventually, pneumonia took him. His lungs couldn't clear themselves. His rigid chest couldn't cough properly. The infection won. But Harry's story didn't end with his death. Before he died, Harry made an extraordinary decision. He donated his body to science. He wanted doctors to study him, to learn from his suffering, to maybe help others with the same condition. Harry knew he couldn't be saved, but perhaps his skeleton could save someone else. Harry's skeleton is now in a museum, the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia. You can see it today. The entire frame shows the horrific progression of his disease. His spine is completely fused. His ribs are locked together. His arms and legs are encased in extra bone. It looks like someone carved a man from solid rock. But this wasn't carved. This grew inside a living person, year after year, inch by inch. Scientists now know what Harry had. It's called fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. FOP for short. It means progressive ossification of soft tissue. Ossification means turning into bone. Harry's soft tissues were becoming hard bone. The disease is caused by a genetic mutation. A single letter change in one gene. That's all it takes. One tiny error in DNA, and your body starts building bone where it shouldn't. FOP is extraordinarily rare. Only 1 person in 2 million has it. There are about 800 confirmed cases worldwide. That's fewer people than live in a small town. Most cases are random mutations. They happen spontaneously. Parents are normal. Siblings are normal. But one child gets the mutation, and their life changes forever. The disease usually shows up in early childhood. The first sign is often strange lumps on the head or neck. Hard bumps that appear for no reason. Then comes the fusion. The body parts start locking up, always in the same pattern. Neck first, then shoulders, then arms and chest, finally legs and feet. The disease moves from top to bottom. Predictable, systematic, merciless. Any injury triggers more bone growth. A bump, a bruise, a fall, even a vaccine injection can cause a flare-up. The body treats any trauma as a signal to build more bone. So FOP patients must avoid injury at all costs. No contact sports, no rough play, no dental work if possible. Even a viral infection can trigger ossification. A flu can make new bone appear. There is still no cure for FOP. Not in Harry's time. Not today. Doctors have learned not to operate. Surgery always makes it worse. They've learned to manage symptoms, pain medication, breathing support, physical therapy that doesn't cause injury. But they can't stop the bone growth. They can't reverse what's already formed. They can only watch and try to keep patients comfortable. Research is ongoing. Scientists have identified the exact gene that causes FOP. It's called ACVR1. This gene normally controls bone formation during healing. But in FOP patients, the gene is always switched on. It tells the body to make bone constantly. In 2024, researchers are testing new drugs, medications that might block the faulty gene. Early trials show some promise, but nothing is approved yet. Nothing is guaranteed to work. Living with FOP means living with constant fear. Fear of injury, fear of flare-ups, fear of losing another body part to bone. Patients describe feeling like they're being buried alive, slowly entombed in their own skeleton. Most people with FOP die young, usually from breathing complications. The chest becomes too rigid. The lungs can't expand. Respiratory failure is the most common cause of death. But some patients live into their 40s or 50s. They adapt. They find ways to function. They use special equipment, modified wheelchairs, computer controls operated by eye movement, voice recognition software. Some marry. Some have children. They build lives despite the disease, despite knowing what's coming, despite the inevitable progression. Harry Eastlack never had those options. He lived before modern assistive technology. Before computers, before power wheelchairs. He spent his final years almost completely immobilized, dependent on others for everything, unable to feed himself, unable to move at all. But he never gave up hope. Hope that his sacrifice might mean something, that his body could teach doctors something valuable. And it did. Harry's skeleton has been studied by countless researchers. It helps scientists understand how FOP progresses, where the bone forms, how it connects, what patterns it follows. His donation advanced medical knowledge significantly. Every doctor studying FOP has seen pictures of Harry's skeleton. He became the textbook example, the case that taught the world about this horrifying disease. Today, FOP patients have support networks, organizations that connect families, researchers who specialize in the condition, annual conferences where patients share experiences, online communities where people offer advice, how to avoid injuries, how to adapt homes, how to cope emotionally. These resources didn't exist in Harry's time. He suffered alone, isolated, unique in his horror. The most tragic aspect of FOP is how it starts. Babies born with FOP have one telltale sign. Their big toes are malformed, bent inward, shorter than normal. It's called a hallux valgus deformity. This toe abnormality appears at birth, but most doctors don't recognize it. Most babies with strange toes don't have FOP, so the warning sign gets missed. Parents don't know. Doctors don't suspect. Not until the bone growth starts. Not until it's too late to prepare. There's a cruel irony to FOP. The human body is an amazing healing machine. It can repair injuries, rebuild damaged tissue, knit broken bones back together. This healing ability keeps us alive. But in FOP patients, that same healing response goes wrong. The body heals too much. It builds bone when it should build muscle. It ossifies when it should regenerate. The very system designed to save us becomes our destroyer. Harry Eastlack's legacy lives on, not just in museums, but in the hearts of FOP patients who benefit from research he enabled, in the doctors who learned from his skeleton, in the families who now recognize the disease early. Harry couldn't be saved, but he's saving others. Even now, 50 years after his death, his bones still teach, still inspire, still matter. If you ever visit Philadelphia, you can see Harry. His skeleton stands in the Mutter Museum, a testament to human suffering, a monument to medical mystery, a reminder that our bodies can betray us in unimaginable ways. Look at those fuse bones, that extra skeleton, that prison of calcium, and remember Harry Eastlack, the man who turned to stone, but never stopped being human.